We are live on your YouTube channel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
What's shaking but the bacon? Entertain the troops. I'm going to get that tweet out to you.
Right on. So this is episode 259, I see by the scoreboard, of Hebsy on Sports. Perhaps our best show.
Oh.
I'm just saying that in advance because there's a lot of things to talk about.
Wow.
But one in particular that's I think everyone's going to get engaged with, which was kind of glossed over the other night.
I know what it
with
is.
Dion Phaneuf.
Right.
Now, if you would have mentioned his name just sort of in passing, hey, I wonder whatever happened to Dion Phaneuf. I might have said something like, now, if you would have mentioned his name, just
that's because I'm using one computer today instead of my normal two. But yeah, sorry, continue.
What did you just do there?
I played us on the live stream to make sure that we sounded good there. But normally I do that on a second machine so you don't hear it. But as you see, I'm not in my normal studio.
What's happening with the TMDS studio?
Well, you know where the washer and dryer are? It's good. It's nice to have a washer.
Of course I do.
Okay, so well, not too many details. We cannot buy a new dryer because they changed the standard for height of dryers. And the way it is under the stairs and basically there's nowhere to move. So we keep having to buy old dryers that have been refurbished. And now we're getting some work done down there that will allow us to actually buy a new dryer. How's that? Okay.
Thanks
so basically today and Monday, I'm not allowed in my studio. So I said, oh, well, I could do it from the living room. So hello from my living room.
Right. Now, in the past, you would have had to have gone to the Humble and Fred studio, right? It wouldn't have been
9 years ago, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that's correct. The first
and now that everyone can do a podcast from their home, as long as the acoustics are reasonable and you've got good microphones.
Right.
And people that know how to work those microphones.
Right.
Then
you don't sound like you're talking from a tin somewhere.
Hey, that sounded like Foster Hewitt.
I do a pretty good Foster Hewitt. Not as good as Rob Cowan.
Right.
That's a tremendous Foster Hewitt. But I do a pretty good Foster Hewitt, yeah. But I mean, it's like people doing impersonations of W.C. Fields or Groucho Marx. It's from another era. It's from 2 eras ago.
Sure.
Like it's from your grandparents' era and maybe even your great-grandparents' era.
But, as a youngin', am I still a youngin'? I guess not. But I guess
you're as young as you feel.
I like the old stuff from like my grandparents' time. I like references to that stuff like W.C. Fields and Foster Hewitt or whatever it is. Like I kind of
W.C. Fields, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's that he was the original misogynist, hated women, talked down to them and they're butt of jokes and stuff like that. But also, he's just a miserable SOB. Go away, kid, you bother me with the top hat. And in fact, when I was a kid, there were commercials for Fritos corn chips. You couldn't get in Canada. This would have been in the 60s at some point. I mean, eventually they came to Canada, but when you first saw the commercials, Frito Bandito was a character. I am the Frito Bandito. And then there was a character, W.C. Fritos. W.C. Fritos here with a message to you kids.
Right.
For Halloween. It was weird. How did we get on this topic?
I don't remember. You did an imitation, and I said it sounded like your old boss there at the CKFH. Because you're a CKFH alumni. There's a new website paying tribute to CKFH, and they list everybody who ever was like on the station. And your photo from the Hebsy on Sports podcast image that we have in Apple and everything, that photo is on that page.
Interesting. There were very few photographs taken in those studios for whatever reason. I don't know. Like people just, hey, let me get some pictures. But boy, I would love to see pictures of, because the number of people that were in those studios and the star power.
Right.
You would not believe some of the people that went into those studios and recorded. It was, and just nobody there ever thought of, hey, let's get a picture.
Right.
It would have been great.
No, we didn't think of pictures like that.
Of McCowan and Muhammad Ali.
Right.
From 1978 or something like that.
Amazing.
Whatever it was. Like, why didn't someone take a picture? And if they did, put it on the internet somewhere.
Right.
Some wild stuff. Are you tweeting out? My tweet.
Yeah, retweet the tweet I just sent you.
Retweet the tweet. That's what they all say. So besides, how long is the studio will not be in operation?
Just today and Monday, and then I'll be
Okay.
back down there Tuesday.
Right on.
But you know what? It doesn't like Monday. I have a guest, but it's on Zoom because he lives in New York. But can you name the keyboardist from the Spoons during their glory days?
The keyboardist?
Right.
So I know Gord Depp and I know Sandy Horn.
Right.
And quite frankly, I do not know I don't know the names.
Right.
I might know a first name, but
Rob. So it's I hope I say the last name. Prius. I have to check out how you say the last name. Anyways, Prius. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the Spoons and more. And he was also in Honeymoon Suite too. So
now Honeymoon Suite, those guys. Did I ever tell you that story
Tell
about
me.
how when I was at Global, me and Taddy, they were shooting a music video, the next studio over. So like literally across the hall from where we were shooting Sportsline in the news studio. And we were all happened to be in the makeup room at the same time. And they were like, hey, they're from Niagara Falls. Hey, we watch you guys all the time. And we're like, well, right on. Because we were playing their music. I was playing it underneath, the highlights.
Sure.
And they came and sat in the control room for one of the shows. And they were like gaga. We were like, come on, you guys are professional musicians. You do music videos. How can this be? They were like, oh my God, we're sitting watching the show.
I love that.
Yeah, it was great. Super nice guys. And Dave Betts, the drummer, ended up, I invited him and he came to my first golf tournament, my first charity celebrity golf tournament.
Nice.
Got pictures of him somewhere.
So, is that yours? Like you were the host of that celebrity golf tournament? And who's the biggest celebrity who showed up?
The biggest celebrity to ever show up I ran the tournament for 10 years.
Yeah, like I'm just curious.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Or give me
I'll have to think
bigger
about
name.
that. I don't want to diss anybody.
Was it you?
That's a tough one. I was a pretty big celeb back in those days.
No, I mean, come on.
I was pretty big, I guess. Okay, enough about me.
I had the Hebsy poster on my bedroom wall with the earring. Come on.
Which earring? Because my son wants to know about that.
Oh, I don't know. It's just
he sort of wants the history. Oh, like when did you wear the earring? And did you wear it in both ears? Which ear did you wear it in? What kind of earring was it?
Just your left ear. It wasn't in both ears.
I wore it in the left ear.
Because back then we didn't do that. We only put it in. I had one too. Maybe inspired by Hebsy. Who knows? But I had one in my left ear for a long time.
Right.
And then it went out of fashion.
About some coaches that tried to pull it out of my ear. One like on the air. Like, when are you going to get rid of that thing?
Because they were homophobic.
Very much so. And also the letter that I got from like the president of the network. Big shot at the network saying, we don't wear earrings on our television broadcasts. And I'm like, well, man, I've been wearing it on Global for the last 4 or 5 years. So where you been?
Right. Hey, I know we're going to start in 1 minute, but rumor has it the great Gene Velitis is actually in Burlington right now.
Well, people do come back east during the holiday season. Holiday season sometimes is U.S. Thanksgiving.
Really? Why?
Even though you're in Canada,
Yeah.
you take a couple of days off.
Okay.
You come home. You may not be eating turkey, but you watch some football games. You get into maybe the Black Friday. You go across the border. I know a lot of people that would come back specifically because everybody comes back at Christmas, and they might come back again in a month or so. But it's totally different in the States, man. Like next weekend is it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's Cyber Monday. But what happens is after that, things drop off substantially. Like if you want to go away, you want to travel at all, go right after the U.S. Thanksgiving. Like go on the Monday.
Right.
Places are empty. You got your run of anywhere. The Americans don't go anywhere after Thanksgiving. They don't. Cheapest deals, best deals, first couple of weeks in December, right after
it's a good
US
tip.
Thanksgiving.
Good tip. And just before I count you down here, although I play the music, so I count myself down, I guess. Gene Velitis' birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday, Gene. That's why he was in our neck of the woods.
Happy birthday, Gene. He's in a different demographic now, I think, Gene.
Oh, 80? I'm kidding. Come on.
Yes, you won't be co-hosting next week on the show.
He's an FOTM. He'll be the co-host next week. Okay.
Starting to sound Tony Soprano a bit. What's the matter with you? What's going on in your life that you're like that? Loyal viewer.
I know.
Listen to him.
He busts
when we were kids.
Hebsy. He busts my chops relentlessly on Twitter. I think it's fair game. I think with Gene Velitis.
I think he should take over the show if I go away. When I take a hiatus, I think Gene should do the show.
He was 65 yesterday.
He did sports for quite a while, you know. He was a sports guy. You don't know that, do you?
When was he? Where? Remind me, because I remember him
Come
at
on.
Q.
Brother Jake and Gene in
Okay, he did the
Vancouver?
sport. Well, okay.
Okay, never mind.
I know. No,
Enough about him. Let's do our podcast.
But I do know about that show, but that was more recent. The Brother Jake and Gene. But I did. Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Okay. Not just like it's none of this stay in your lane shit. Like, you know, people are, stay in your lane. What do you know? You're a sports guy.
Right.
Fuck right off.
Well, he loves. Listen, he loves Hebsy on sports, and that's why we love him. Okay.
As
Are
well
you
you
ready to rock?
Ready.
All right.
Let's do
Everything is in a different place here. Here we go.
Live from Toronto, it's Hebsy on Sports, episode number 259. Hi there, sports fans. Mark Hebsher here in the Little Italy studios. Studio.
There's only one.
Two studios here.
Right,
Only have one, so it's a Little Italy studio. It's like the World Championships. Is it the championships or is the championship?
Singular.
Right. Princess Gates?
No.
Princess Gates.
It's princes.
Prince is the apostrophe's Gates. Let's get this right. And please, if you're going to say a word that ends in ing, please go ing, not ing.
Oh.
Okay? Cooking, cleaning, wallpapering. Come on, G, hard G, please. Unless your mother tongue is not English, then perfectly excusable.
Yeah, if you're from the Caribbean, we'll let you drop the G's.
Hey, come on. No, I don't know. Well, I don't know about that. You should still enunciate.
Okay. I'm in trouble
Something
now.
to think about. Anyway, at the new Toronto studios, because there's more than one. We have Toronto Mike. There's a backyard studio.
Sure.
There's of course, the basement studio, and you are now in your new temporary studio.
Yes, hello from my living room.
Today on the show, the Maple Leafs win again. Ho-hum. When do the playoffs start already? Let's go. I don't like the way this team looks, but it's only November. The Raptors lose again, this time in Utah, where Pascal Siakam went MIA and the Raps defense showed more holes than a slice of Swiss cheese. Haven't used that line in a while. I kind of like it. By the way, OG Anunoby out indefinitely. Bad news for a team that's, struggling and needs to stay in the playoff hunt. We'll get to that later. Shohei Ohtani wins the MVP over Vladdy. And if you're the least bit upset about this, fuck right off. Okay, none of this Toronto bias. Be reasonable. The guy is unbelievable. He's a generational player, deserves the MVP. Vladdy deserves to be the runner-up. He'll win one. Just chill. Robbie Ray took the Cy Young. Will he be with the Jays next year? Who knows? What do I know more than you? Did I get here before you? I don't know. And we got Berrios locked up for 7 years. Woo. So the Jays' future looks bright. Huge numbers for Canadian soccer, over 1 million tuning in to see them beat Mexico. I'm telling you, it's more like 2 million. Because most people I know watched it with someone else.
Right.
And it doesn't include the streaming numbers and all that other stuff. Come on. 2 million. How many watched the Canada-US game, Vancouver 2010? What was that, like 17 million, or like almost the whole country?
That was a big one.
Ridiculous number like that. That was big. So imagine if they make it to the World Cup. Oh, no. Canada, wait a minute. You guys are hockey. You're not a soccer nation. Oh, that's right. You weren't a basketball nation before you won the championship, were you? Come on. We love winners. Who doesn't? Wait till our men's volleyball team gets it going. Then you'll see something.
Woo.
You bet. NFL, golf, and would you buy Quaker Oats because TSN's Darren Drager and Jennifer Hedger are hawking it on TV? Like, who knew that Darren Drager served his son, who's watching the highlights on his phone? Who knew that he served him Quaker Oats, and they sat together and like a father and son, or Jennifer Hedger and her son, if in fact those are their real kids, or they actors.
They better be real.
Anyway, and if you think there's any jealousy, it's like, hey, you're making good bucks if you're on a TV commercial. Your face on a TV commercial, man, you're making some good dough. those commercials keep going on. Maybe they run another cycle. You get some residuals. So if I'm sitting next to you on the anchor desk going, what did you do to get that commercial? How come I can't get that commercial?
Well, Hebsy, clearly it's to keep their salaries down. Right? Like
How's
this is essentially
station has no idea what they're making on the commercials.
I would suspect that it's done through Bell Media in some regard, and that it's like in lieu of a raise or maybe.
No, come on, no, don't tell me that.
It's possible. Would you be shocked if that were true?
No, you do a commercial. It's a union gig. No, none of that shit. Not part of your salary. It's nonsense.
Okay, but we've been talking about the source. These source commercials we were talking about with.
That's different.
So that's different.
The source commercials are a bit different. I'm talking, the Quaker Oats. Did you see those commercials?
I haven't seen them yet. No.
Oh, what am I talking to you for? All that plus the Dion Phaneuf retirement ceremony and much more. But first, once again, here's Toronto Mike.
Hello, everybody. How you doing, Hebsy?
Introduce yourself.
I'm Toronto Mike. Nice to meet you. How are you doing, Mark Hebsher?
It's been a very strange week. I have to get this off my chest. This is what happened. Last Friday after the show, going through my mail, see an email from someone that I have not spoken to or been contacted by or whatever in a couple of years at least. Someone in a very high position in the broadcast industry. Very high position. And basically, hi, Mark. I was wondering if we can get together on a Zoom or a call. Would love for you to come and be part of our thing. Basically, I'm not going to get into too much detail. I'm like, wow, out of nowhere. So email back. Here's my number. Call me anytime. There you go. Get a return. Great. Monday, late in the afternoon. We'll call you then. Beautiful. So the weekend goes. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Wow. I wonder what it's about. I have no idea what it's about. Like, no idea. But just the way it's worded and exclamation marks, hey, would love to talk to you. Okay. Monday comes and goes. No call. Very strange, considering they were the ones who reached out.
Right.
Tuesday, Wednesday night, I send an email back. Did I misread, or is it next Monday you're going to give me a call? I'm free tomorrow. Nothing. Nothing. Very strange. Now I'm thinking, did the person get into an accident? Did something happen in their personal life, or did they get fired? Like, I don't know.
Well, there were. It depends what I don't know who you're talking about, obviously, but there were some big Bell Media layoffs this week.
There were.
Yeah. Okay, so at stations like CFRB, they let go a bunch of people.
Oh no, this person's way, way higher up than that.
Okay, well, I don't know who. Okay.
I'm way higher up than that. I'm talking 3 levels higher than anybody at that Fuck the station. Okay. But I know what they're doing. They're just trying to save money there. That's just
Hebsy, this story,
like, you can do 2 jobs now, Mike. Can't you? You can do 3, 4 jobs now.
I'll even do an ad for oatmeal if they want. Listen, Hebsy, I think what you're describing sounds very frustrating. Like, because they contacted you out of the blue, and they get you, like, it's titillating, right? Now you start thinking, what do they want to talk to Hebsy about? And then the fact that they kind of ghost you at this point, that's rude. That's rude.
Well, I don't believe this person is not capable of being rude, capable of doing what they're doing, what you're suggesting. I think something happened.
Huh. I hope they're
offline.
Okay.
Some personal crisis had to happen. And again, they might have lost their job. But even if the offer was rescinded, the person would get back. This person would get back. Because they know if I saw them on the street, I'd beat the shit out of them and demand an explanation. What do you get me all? Like, if you would have never contacted me in the first place, I'd be fine. Perfectly fine.
Right.
So anyway, that's been on my mind. So any suggestions as to how to handle that, I'm all for it. And if the person happens to be listening to the show, fucking give me a call. Like you said you were going to call.
Or at least if they change their mind, at least send a courtesy note to say
something.
Anyway. Sorry for getting y'all.
Hopefully it's just a big misunderstanding, and we'll be laughing about it. But yeah, as it is, it's been like a week.
Well, now my mind is racing. Like, what do they want with Hebsy, man? Like, what
would you do if that happened to you? Okay. Again, out of the blue, and a really like one of those. Hey, hope things are going well. Would love to talk to you about a possible situation that we're enthusiastic
Well,
about
Hebsy,
it.
if a week, I think at this point, if enough time has gone by, like a week or whatever, you can call like the office and try the old-fashioned telephone method and leave.
No. See, that puts me in a bad bargaining position if anything came about.
Okay.
You guys
then
contacted me.
you just gotta wait. You gotta like put it. Yeah.
You contacted me. I don't know. For all I know, it could be like, we hear you're a really good floor cleaner. We need you to clean our floors.
Real talk, Hebsy.
Probably not.
This was
Probably
Edward Rogers, right? Who was trying to contact you.
I'd be worried if it was Edward Rogers.
That's a Gene Velitis joke.
I would think, he could just turn around and say, oh, by the way, no, I'm going to fire you and the whole board. This person's much more stable, I think. Anyway.
Sure.
There you go.
Interesting.
It's the honest to God's truth. It's a head scratcher.
Yeah, later when we hang up on the people, you can tell me who this is. I need to know.
Oh, there's no way I would tell you.
Oh, that's rude too. Okay.
No, and I'm not even sure you would know who this person is by name.
All right.
You might.
Gotcha.
But I'm talking very high up. Like I'm talking in a position that says, we need that person. Get them for me now. Let's go.
Well, when you do hear from this person, I need to know right away. Just call me. I don't care if it's 4 a.m.
I'll let you know.
Ring my number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be my final show. Obviously, I won't be able to podcast, but
that's okay.
I can negotiate that into. Oh, I'm getting way out of myself.
I'd be so. Listen, Hebsy, I would just be so happy for you. I would just be so happy for you.
I'm happy for me too. Just even if.
well, let's see.
Enough whining by me. A warning to you Toronto Maple Leafs fans, and I know you're out there. Take it easy, okay? Don't get too cocky. It's only the regular season. Oh, yeah. The blue and white look great. They look fucking fantastic. Let's be honest. Even without their big guns, we got a goalie. You know how Habs fans felt all those years with Carey Price? That's the way Leaf fans are starting to think about Soupy Campbell. Honest to God. He can play every game, except for the back-to-backs. So those are your losses. And this guy might never lose another game. Isn't he playing like that? Even giving up a goal. He gave up a goal? What the fuck is all that about? This guy's been amazing. Amazing. Will he be playing this way in March and April? That's the question. But this team looks like a Stanley Cup contender. How can you dispute it? 10 wins of their last 11 games? But as we all know, especially in Leafland, the regular season means squat. So you can't get too high about this recent run, because things have a way of evening themselves out. And quite frankly, I'd like to see this streak in March or April, but I don't know. Could be the other way around. They could slump in February, never recover. I don't know. Or they could just go like this the whole season. Like one of those years, those teams that just go all the way and finish first and win the whatever Jennings or Patrick or stupid trophy.
Oh, I was thinking 84 Tigers. Like they just sort of started off hot and just went. But these Leafs, it wasn't that long ago. I was like, really disappointed in the effort of the Leafs.
We all were.
And that was like what? That was like 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago or something.
So this is pro sports. This is sports. Over a long season, peaks, valleys, blah, blah. I don't have to tell you. You know. And they don't award the Stanley Cup in November. So last night's 2-1 win over the Rangers was impressive. Yeah, very impressive. Given the fact that both goals came from D-man Morgan Riley. And Soupy was his brilliant self again, stopping 25 of 26 shots. Now, I have to tell you, Toronto would have been the last place in the world I would have thought fans were capable of going, ooh. Like, I mean in unison, not 15 or 20 people, leather lungs. I'm talking about the whole place. And the reason I mention this is how startled I was when I first heard that sound in a sporting arena. I was about 10 years old, 9 or 10. My cousins in Chicago had season's tickets to the Blackhawks. So the game at Chicago Stadium. At the time, you could smoke. There was like cigarette smoke, cigar smoke, pipe smoke, marijuana smoke, and beer and urine. That's what it smelled like, Chicago Stadium. And if you were ever in the old barn, the way the seats, I'm trying to explain this, the angle of the seats was so steep. It was like, like at what's the theater down on King Street, the famous theater in Toronto? Not Massey Hall, but what's that? What's the one right on King Street there? The
Roy
Ed's there. What's the freaking place called?
Just drawing a blank.
Where they had Godspell and Jesus Christ Superstar and All those great
Oh.
shows. Go ahead and find it. But anyway,
Okay, but
those seats there are really steep. Like you're on literally like on top of the action, like a Roman Coliseum. And that's the way it was at the Chicago Stadium. And I'm there for the first time experiencing all of this. And then I hear the fans, 20,000 fans go, ooh, and I'm freaking out.
Royal
First of all, the sound
Alexandra,
is just so scary.
Royal Alexandra Theater is what you're.
Thank you, the Royal Alex.
Right.
Thank you. The sound was so loud and so scary.
Yeah.
And I look and this number 4 for Chicago has the puck, and I'm thinking to myself, they're booing their own player. Like, this is a mean crowd. Like, I'm from Toronto. Everybody was very polite, you know. Once in a while somebody would go, Mahavlich, you stink. But that was it. You'd never hear anybody yell out anything bad. And so I hear 20,000 people, and I'm looking, and this number 4 is carrying the puck. And my cousin looks over at me and goes, don't worry, they're not going boo. They're going Moose, because Elmer Vasco's nickname was Moose Vasco. Well, I didn't know this, but just the sound of these 20,000 fans, I was scared shitless. And later, like I picked up on this, I thought it was a really cool way to call out a player, like, call out his name with a nickname. So Moose Vasco later became in Chicago Lou Angotti. Lou, right? And Lou Nanny in Minnesota. Again, whenever he touched the puck at home, Lou. Or if he scored a goal. And then later in baseball, Lou Piniella.
Sure.
They're not going boo, they're going Lou.
Right.
And all that stuff. It was just, it's a neat way, very unique way of, appreciating, acknowledging that player. So Jack Campbell, Jack, no. Soupy Campbell. Soup.
Love it.
Ooh. So imagine being a kid, never knowing that. And now Jack Campbell makes 3 or 4 great saves, and suddenly everybody is going, ooh, and you're thinking they're booing, because it does sound the same.
2 notes that
there, and there. Boo, soup, Lou.
Okay, so there's a classic Simpsons joke where they're booing, and then I think Smithers tells Mr. Burns they're really saying boo earns. Like, that's one of the classic. But what I remember watching my terrible Leafs of the late 80s is hearing the Lou call when Lou Franceschetti would get the puck. So
any guy named Lou.
Right.
And even Lou Nistico.
You know what? We should draft more Lou's because it's great fun. So we need more Lou's in the lineup.
Right. So even guys' nicknames, okay?
Right.
Like, oh man, I think Boots Day, when Boots Day came up in Montreal, I remember people, Boots. I just think any excuse where a guy's name has an ooh in it to just go and make it, and everyone's, they're not going boo, they're going Boots.
Love it.
I don't know.
Love it.
Anyway, the first time I heard it, I'm just never like, whoa.
Yeah, the light, once the light goes on, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I remember it. I remember it. Cool.
And then I thought, wait a minute. Who do Leaf fans boo? Like, really boo, right? They booed Bobby Orr. Booed him lustily.
Wow.
Whenever he got the puck. I was shocked by it. So I thought, they're booing him not because they hate him, because they hate that he's so good. That's what it is. They hate that he's so good. So but then I heard Leaf fans boo Frank Mahovlich. When I was a kid, I was going, well, why are they booing him, Dad? My father says, well, Imlach thinks he's lazy and he doesn't pronounce his name the right way. He's, and Frank had to go to the hospital. He had to go to the hospital. What for, Dad? Oh, stress, anxiety. I forget what they called it back in those days. Nervous breakdown.
Nervous breakdown, they called it.
And you're going, nervous breakdown? What's that, Dad? Oh, it's, he was under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't realize as a kid that the reason he was under that pressure was Imlach was dissing him in the newspapers on a daily basis, just kicking the shit out of him. And the fans are booing him. Then later, when I was covering the Leafs, Larry Murphy, that one season was every time Larry Murphy, the puck would hop over his stick, and they just decided, okay, he was the GOAT. He was the guy. Booed the shit out of him. And you had guys like Jake Gardner and Dion Phaneuf. I thought about that. Phaneuf. Wait a minute. Phaneuf. They used to boo Phaneuf. So what the fuck were the Leafs thinking? I know he was the captain. But that doesn't mean shit. Let's be honest.
And he shouldn't have been
You
captain.
can name a whack of captains that just because they wore the captaincy doesn't mean they deserve to be feted, celebrated. But anyway, of all the people, Dion Phaneuf announces retirement, and you're going to have a ceremony for him? His wife and his daughter are going to come out with him, just the three of them, and stand at fucking center ice with their masks on and wave to a smattering of applause. And I mean a smattering. Come on, everybody. Let's get up for Dion Phaneuf. Hey, what a career he had with the Leafs. What were they thinking? Mike, tell me.
Well, I'll tell
What
you
were they
exactly.
thinking?
I'll tell you exactly. In the world of this PR, this MLSE PR machine, they're just looking for any excuse to make a little noise that's like positive in nature that they can kind of rally around. And this was as good an excuse as any. Of course, it's ridiculous. Like I think it's hilarious almost. But this is just the MLSE marketing machine finding a reason to make noise.
Man, hockey just pulls off the most awkward moments, especially if it's in Toronto. Just awkwardly, ooh. You know, even the Hall of Fame ceremonies, that's not an easy gig, man. You're in a hall with a bunch of people, but still. And in actual fact, the speeches this year were really good. But just, I don't know. There's something about it that's just so awkward, so...
And let's face it, Hebsy.
Cringeworthy.
In hindsight, Dion Phaneuf's best years were in Calgary. Calgary
I'm not sure he had any best years. Mike.
Well, he was very good, very young, and then peaked early, as they say. I mean, he at the time of the trade, I remember being very hopeful that we had the defenseman we needed, and it just didn't pan out as usual in Leafs land.
During his career in Toronto, if I would have said to you, Dion Phaneuf, upon the announcement of his retirement, will be honored at the Scotiabank Arena, you would have said what?
I would have said, "What's that?" No, I would have said, "Oh, I guess he led us to the promised land. I guess we finally got that ring on color TV."
Right, and then you found out that Dion Phaneuf, in his 7 years with the Maple Leafs, a little over 430 games, of which 7 were playoff games. That fateful, ill-fated Boston series in 2013.
Wow.
By the way, he was a -6 in that series. But also, Dion Phaneuf orchestrated the salute gate nonsense,
right?
Snubbing the fans. It was Phaneuf who, I think, led the tanking when the Leafs decided they didn't want to play for Peter Horachek after they didn't want to play for Randy Carlyle. Now, when Carlyle got fired, the Leafs were in a good position. They were well over 500. They were certainly in a playoff position. And then they brought in Horachek, and Dion Phaneuf just kind of led the way. Kessel, we're not going to play. So my question is this. Will the Leafs honor Jake Gardner the same way when he retires?
Maybe.
Or James Van Riemsdyk or Kessel, all of whom played, I think, around the same number of games. I think Gardner more than Phaneuf played.
Yes.
423 games is nothing.
Well,
What's
Kessel
that?
For sure, buddy. Kessel for sure, because Kessel and Phaneuf are both kind of your stars of the awful. You're right, the 7 games.
So will they? When
Sure.
Phil Kessel announces his retirement, does he get the Dion Phaneuf treatment?
Yeah, but can we just the treatment was like a short little ceremony. I'm just on your YouTube channel.
No. Don't give me that.
Okay, because Gordon Enright's pointing out, like, it's not like they retired his number. Like, it's just a little.
Oh, no, that's bullshit, okay? If I'm at the game and Mike Ross comes on the PA system, ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? And now I got to stop what I'm doing and be quiet so that a mediocre defenseman whose wife is more famous than he is, or at least as famous as he is recognizable. Sure. And their child, who they never identified, I never heard, with his wife, Alicia, and their child, Bingo, or whatever the kid's name is. No, I just found it to be really kind of like people looking up, what's this? What? Who is that?
I guess as a former captain, I think it's just because he wore the C. Like, I don't think they did this for... If he wasn't
the captain, he doesn't get this?
Correct.
So Kessel doesn't get this?
Well, I think Kessel might be an exception because, I mean, those were awful years in terms of playoff success. But damn was Kessel. Guys? Kessel was fun to watch. I'll just say when he was on.
But is that enough, though, to say, let's bring them back? What great years. Remember those great teams, great times. Bring them. No.
We're desperate
Disagree.
here.
doesn't deserve
So
it.
you're saying raise the bar in terms of what's worthy of a ceremony, because
Here's what I'm saying.
Tell us.
And you're never going to get this. Like Doug Gilmore or Wendell Clark would never tell you this. But deep down, if you were honored, you were feted by the Leaf organization. And now they're doing the same thing with someone who is much lesser quality. There's no effect really on the team at all. I mean, Gilmore fucking set the all-time scoring record for this team single season.
Right.
2 straight Final Fours. Blah, blah, blah. But Phaneuf, not even close. Not even close. So if you're Gilmore, do you have a right to go, I don't know if he belongs in the same club. Okay, his number wasn't retired, but he had a ceremony? I don't know.
It's all because I think it's because of the C. I think that he wore the C for I don't know how many years. He never should have got that C. That's a great story unto itself. Like when Burke decided he was getting the C because he had a fight, I think, in his first game, and he said that's what we're looking for. But because he wore that C, I think that's basically why he's been elevated to this ceremony status.
I'll have to agree, and the fact that he's a very nice guy.
Right. But Salute-gate was not cool in retrospect.
No, you're right.
But he, by all accounts, a very nice man.
So the question is, who will be the next Maple Leaf upon his retirement to be feted by MLSE?
Phil Kessel.
I don't know. All right, back to this year's team. And who on this team? 15 years from now, there'll be a ceremony for that person. Or whatever. The Leafs 2 points back of Florida in the Atlantic Division, having won 5 straight, 10 of 11. However, they've also played 12 of their first 18 games at home. So here's the upcoming schedule. At home to Pittsburgh Saturday. Then in New York on Long Island to play the Islanders on Sunday in their new arena, the UBS Arena. It's UBS or it's UBS. I don't know, because I'll be honest with you, I'm just going to call it the new arena.
Sure.
In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, to try to keep up with the names of the fucking arenas in sports nowadays, forget it. Everything's going to be called the Bitcoin Arena one day or the medical marijuana arena. I can't keep up. It doesn't matter to me anymore. Okay? When I call the Dome in Toronto the Sky Dome, there's no such company. There's no business. I'm not giving them any. I'm not having people go, oh, yeah, I've got to go up and buy me a case of Sky Dome or whatever. So please, enough. I liked it better when it was named after the owner. You know what I mean? Comiskey Park. Who's that named after? The original owner. Okay.
Right. Well, you've been telling that great story about Chicago Stadium. Like, what was that called? Chicago Stadium? Is that what
That's all it was.
Like, think about that.
It wasn't the, Bank of America, Chicago Stadium or whatever. So, enough. If you want to go and look up and go, hey, Bill, it's $1 stadium. That's fine. But I'm not going to announce the name of your product while discussing the venue of where 2 teams are going to play. Okay. If I mention the Detroit Lions, sure, it's great for the Detroit Lions and they'll sell more merchandise. Hey, Hebsy mentioned us. But I ain't mentioning the name of whatever their fucking field is there. Okay, and that's all there is to it. So the new arena, which is across the street from Belmont Racetrack, not named after anyone, by the way, Belmont Racetrack, named after where it is, Elmont, New York, at a B. That's where the new arena is for Long Island, for the New York Islanders. So the Leafs will be there and then off to the West Coast and some late night viewing for those of us back east. In LA on Wednesday to play the Kings, in San Jose Friday to play the Sharks, back to SoCal Sunday to play the Ducks, and then returning home Wednesday, December 1st to play Colorado. So there's your West Coast trip for the Leafs coming up. And by the way, the Montreal Canadiens, 4-13-2 start this year.
Wow.
And the other night, a disgruntled fan threw a Habs jersey on the ice in disgust. Mike, I don't believe I've ever seen anyone throw a Montreal Canadiens jersey on the ice.
Sacrilegious. Wow. I can't recall that. No, that's sucks to be them. Hey, you mentioned 15 years from now, what Leafs, and I just want to point out, I think there's at least 2, if assuming things continue with one of them, there's at least 2 Hall of Famers on this team, maybe more.
On which team?
The current Leafs team.
2 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, this is
Casey
of course.
Spezza.
I didn't even consider. I was thinking Tavares and Matthews as assuming things continue in the trajectory, of course.
Assuming. Things continue.
Like,
but not
barring
Marner?
Marner's a maybe, right? Like, we have to see what happens with his career.
Maybe.
He's a maybe because
And
he's
Morgan
still
Riley?
I don't know. I don't ever. I've never felt with Nylander and Riley. I've never felt like these are future Hall of Famers. No.
So to be a Hall of Famer, you got to play a lot of years.
Right.
You have to be an elite player for a number of those years. You have to be in the top scorers. You have to be a Rocket Richard winner, a Lady Byng finalist, and consistently over a number of years.
Right.
I don't know if John Tavares at this particular point is there. Well, he's an excellent player.
Because I think of him as like a Lindros. Like, I mean, Lindros was, that kind
Lindros was a dominant player.
Sure, but he had a shorter career. But I mean,
but he was a dominant player.
True.
He was, I don't know.
Okay,
so
Tavares is a
won
maybe.
3 World Series.
But if Matthews, obviously, if he continues like he is, he's definitely a future Hall of Famer.
Well, okay.
Okay.
You wanted to point that out because
you mentioned in like who will we be honoring in 15 years from this team or whatever, and then I was thinking, well, there might be a couple of Hall of Famers on this team, maybe more.
But what about on the Jays? How many Hall of Famers on that team?
I think they've already put Vladdy on in the Hall of Fame, actually.
Well, again, if you were to take every player's career after their first 5 years,
right,
and the Hall of Fame, you wouldn't have enough room for everybody.
Right, that's true.
So yeah, longevity and consistency.
For sure.
But that should be. But again, I would never be. I know people that say so-and-so doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I would never say that. Mm-hmm. I think that's the ultimate insult, no matter who you are. But especially if you're a player and you say that player doesn't deserve to be in. Now and that's sort of why the Dion Phaneuf thing made me think. Because I don't know, it would be like in my profession, if some, I don't know, mediocre sportscaster was like in the Hall of Fame, if there was such a thing. I'd go, wait a minute.
Right.
He wasn't that good. Yeah, but he did it for 45 years. Yeah, but he wasn't that good. And then someone else would say, no, are you kidding, man? He was the best. I listened to him every day. He was fabulous. So it's so subjective.
Oh, for sure. And as I remember, I'd be watching players thinking I'm watching a future Hall of Famer. And then when all was said and done, they weren't even close. A guy that I keep thinking of, because when I was watching his career, it was a guaranteed 30 homers, 100 RBIs every season. And that's back when we valued those numbers a little more. But I thought Joe Carter was a Hall of Famer. And then it turned out he wasn't even close. So what do I know?
No.
What do I know?
No. Again, I don't either. It's up to, and the voters now are like, here's my ballot. Here's why I voted for this guy as the MVP, or here's why I voted for this guy for the Hall of Fame. And, really when it comes down to it, a lot of it's all bullshit.
Sure.
You're telling me that a great player, because he's not in the Hall of Fame, still can't feel good about him or herself? Oh, you should have been in the Hall of, like if someone came up to you, Mike, and says, geez, really too bad you're not in the Podcasters Hall of Fame. Like after a while you say, fuck right off. Yeah. I'm good with myself.
Right.
Would I feel better if I was in the Hall of Fame? Sure, it's nice to have a pat on the back and your peers, or the fact that people recognize you, that you were that good, that elite. Great, but come on.
Well said.
All right, the Raptors in a bit of a funk right now after their 119-103 loss to the Jazz last night in Salt Lake. Don't know the name of the arena, don't care. Raptors have now fallen to 7-9 on the young season, but still just a game and a half out of a playoff spot in the East. Very tight Eastern Division Conference. Eastern Conference? Right.
Yes.
What division are the Raptors in? Atlantic Division? Do they have divisions in the NBA? I'm trying to think.
Atlantic, I believe.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, whatever. Does really divisional play mean anything in the NBA?
Right.
Yes, it does. Nevertheless, they got to get better production out of Pascal Siakam. Come on, man. Awful last night. 4 points in 30 minutes. 2 of 14 shooting. 0 for 4 from distance. And this just won't do, folks. This will not do, especially now that you're shorthanded, because OG has got a hip pointer and he's out indefinitely. Indefinitely. Hip pointer. Suffered in practice. In practice. Practice. He was averaging 20 points a game. Now he's out indefinitely. So even more reason for Pascal to step it up. Didn't have Precious Achoa last night either, so we got hammered on the boards. Got beat badly. Rudy Gobert, 7 for 7 from the field, 11 boards, 2 blocks. Utah shot 55%. The other night, I think Portland shot 54%. You cannot be giving up those shots. You can't let the other team shoot plus 50% from the field. Jazz with shooting 41% from distance as well. Raptors just couldn't shoot, couldn't play defense. They actually led 63-61 at the half and then scored 40 points the rest of the way. Unacceptable. Gary Trent led the way with 31. FVV had 24. And no rest for the weary as the Raps are in Sacramento tonight to play the Kings.
And the Raps
Sunday,
are
a date with the Golden State Warriors. Oh boy. They lead the West and they got some unfinished business to take care of.
Right. Raps are currently last in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, but division doesn't mean anything. Okay, they're 1.5 games out of a playoff spot, conference, 8th place, and that's tightly bunched.
I still think we'd be better served getting another lottery pick.
I know you want a tank. You want the tank.
I see the big picture.
1.153 million viewers. 1.153 million. Saw Canada beat Mexico 2-1 in their World Cup qualifier on Sportsnet the other night. That's just the Sportsnet numbers. There was some competition for TV viewing there for a while. There was some streaming numbers that we didn't get. Who knows? But anyway, that's a monster number. But not unexpected after their win over Costa Rica the previous game. Look, we love winners. Don't tell me, oh, it's a soccer country. It's not. It's an everything country. We love winners. Remember when the Raptors were making their run to the title? Oh, we didn't know Canada was a basketball country. Fuck right off. We love winners. Major sport. Didn't know Canada was a track and field country. Fuck right off.
Always.
Damian Warner over there. Andre DeGrasse over there. Didn't know you were a soccer country. Women's gold after 2 straight bronzes.
Right.
So go away with this stuff. Didn't know Canada. Look at the snow. And here we are like a bunch of, like nodding idiots going, yeah, that's us. That's us.
Well,
we're Canada. We're now a soccer nation. Always have been. No, haven't always been. Don't give me that shit. We haven't. We love a winner.
Yeah, this
That's
team.
All there is to it.
This team
put a Canadian flag
on
a winner, and the whole country gets on board. It's a natural thing to do. Every country is like that. So don't tell me that. I tell you right now, Colombia would be a hockey country if Colombia beat Canada in hockey. They would be we beat Canada?
I'd like to see that. Hey, I will say this team has captured this country's imagination because it's captured mine. Like these games have become appointment viewing. I was not going to miss, Canada versus Mexico from freezing cold Edmonton. I was not going to miss that show.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The game was on Sportsnet. If you didn't have Sportsnet on TV or you didn't have a streaming service, Sportsnet then or Sportsnet when or whatever it's called, apparently with the worst streaming service in the world, but a really great spokesperson who falls asleep on his couch and, does stuff like that.
Oh, your buddy there.
Yeah.
The guy.
What's his name? Professor?
He's the, I can't remember.
Sportsnet maven? Sportsnet guru?
The coach.
Life coach.
Is he a life coach? Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, I think those games should be on public television. And I really think the CBC should be airing. That's the Olympic network. Why are they not airing the team that's going to be playing in the world? I'm going to assume, I could be wrong, I'm going to assume that the CBC is interested in capturing as many Canadian eyes as possible as the public broadcaster. So how can they not be involved in this great run to the World Cup?
I'm going to guess this was simply not seeing the crystal ball, not showing you what would happen with this team. I don't think anybody predicted a couple of years ago that there'd be this Canada-Mexico game in Edmonton on a freezing cold night that would have over 1 million eyeballs on it. I mean, I don't think that was seen. So I think this deal that Sportsnet struck with whatever, whoever has the Canadian soccer people or whatever, was just a steal of the century. Like, I think they just got it dirt cheap, maybe for all I know, they got it for free. And just because nobody thought this would be such a hot property. And here we go.
Canada. Oh, baby.
They're going home.
That's pretty good.
Hi, Bob. Cool. I'm working on it. I did that reason. I don't know who I did. Oh, you know what? Real quick, a couple of people I talked to last week both wanted to say hi to you. So Jane Eastwood says hello.
Oh, Jane, how's she doing?
She's doing great. She's back in near the Hammer there, and apparently she's been in your home back in the day, and she has fond memories of filming a movie with you.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't even know you were a movie star. This is awesome.
Yeah. I was a movie star. Jane lived in Dundas, where I did. She was actually up in Ancaster at that particular time. Very well known around the community. We used to go to a karaoke night at a place in Ancaster. That was a pretty cool little spot. Live karaoke with a live band that were spectacular.
Well, she's
Gordon Lightfoot's guitarist and
did Daniel Lanois show up?
Daniel Lanois' partner.
Wow.
Bob Deutsch played bass in that band.
Wow.
Steve Ruddock was the drummer.
Wow.
Anyway.
Well, she has fond memories of you.
So I knew Jane, I don't know, see her occasionally. And then, the movie that we did called The National Tree.
Right.
A lot of the exteriors and interiors were filmed at my home in Dundas.
See, that's which was
fact. A perfect, kind of a front porch with a porch swing and, picket fence kind of a thing. Nice little spot. So that's where they filmed it. And then I had a role in it as well. They wrote in a role for me.
Like as a newscaster?
You're a television. Can you do a part of a television reporter? I'm like, yeah. So they wrote in this part specifically for me, where when the tree arrives, I'm the reporter, the local reporter going, and here we are with...
I got to hunt this down.
But I got paid really well.
Oh, wow.
Like when they use your home, like they take it for the whole day. It's like, a couple of grand. Oh, here you go. Off you go. And if they have to leave it overnight, they'll look after your, accommodation.
Sweet.
And they pay you pretty well for it. So the house goes sort of on a register, and all the site location directors or whatever they call them, second director unit, will look into these files and go, oh, that looks like a cool place. Like with mine, they just knocked on my door, said, hi, we really like your house. And, we're shooting a movie.
Amazing.
Here's a couple grand and okay.
And you get to hang with Jane Eastwood, and she's lovely, and she has fond memories of you. And the other gentleman who came over this week, Dan Matheson, wanted me to say hello to you.
Great guy, Dan. When I first started working in sports broadcasting, Dan was at CFTO.
Right.
He was number 3 behind Pat Marsden and Fergie Oliver.
Correct.
And he was good, man. He did a lot. They did a lot of hockey in those days, CTV. So Dan was part of that, and he did the sportscast on the weekends, and he was a reporter for CFTO. And so we'd see each other a lot in the early days, like when Roger Nilsson was coaching the Leafs and the Jays in their first couple of seasons. Really good guy. So smart guy. And then he did Canada AM for like 100 years.
Yeah, he says hello. Good guy. So that's 2 people with fond memories of Hebsy. So there you go. Take that to the bank.
So that's 4 in total. So that's pretty good. Okay, a good week for the Blue Jays, I'll say. Big surprise when they signed Jose Berrios to a 7-year, $131 million deal. They got a Cy Young win out of Robbie Ray. Well, what a cute family, eh? Re-sign this guy. What a cute family. Gorgeous, all of them. And Vladdy Guerrero, runner-up to Shohei Ohtani, who was the unanimous choice for AL MVP. And anyone who says Vladdy should have won it is full of shit and knows nothing about baseball. You're only thinking about it through Blue Jay eyes. Come on.
Right.
Put your Toronto bias aside. Ohtani is a generational player.
Right.
He's actually, Mike, a 7-tool player. He hits for average, hits for power, runs well, throws well, fields well, great control as a pitcher, and durable. I say that's a 7-tool player. So he's a deserved winner of the MVP. And one day, Vladdy will win it.
Agreed.
But if Ohtani stays in the league for the same amount of time, it's going to be tough. But it's going to be, it's like Dennis Potvin and Bobby Orr. Who's the best defenseman? Oh, it's Orr, as long as he's still playing. And then Potvin, what about Larry Robinson?
Right.
What about Brad Park? There was always that. Like, who's the best? And let me tell you, Ohtani right now is the best.
Do you know anyone credible, like anyone whose opinion you trust on these matters, who suggested this was the wrong choice for MVP? I don't think so.
Trust. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But anyone who said, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
And I like him. Sid Sixero. Going on this Toronto rant. His team finished, 11 games out of first place. How can he be the MVP? Dude, Bryce Harper won it in the National League. His team didn't win. So come on. It's got nothing to do with it.
Right.
Anyway, Ohtani is a deserved winner. Vladdy, a deserved runner-up. And Marcus Semien, a deserved, in the show position, bronze medalist. Win, play, show, gold, silver, bronze. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. By the way, Charlie Montoyo was 4th in American League Manager of the Year voting, for what it's worth. And After Bryce Harper in the National League, Juan Soto of Washington, second in the MVP voting. Fernando Tatis Jr., third. Some really talented players in baseball. Lots of free agent signings I expect coming up in the near future. Last night in the NFL, the Patriots beat the Falcons 25-0. What's that, Mike?
I was wondering if you wanted to talk about that TSN Quaker Oats. You skipped over it here, but I just thought the Quaker commercials on TSN with Darren Dreger and Jennifer Hedger, if you had thoughts on that.
Didn't I already mention that today?
No, well, no, I think maybe the red carpet show, but you were going to talk about it between the soccer talk and the Blue Jay talk, but then
I know for a fact that a lot of noses are out of joint at Sportsnet. Not as much, maybe last year, but this year at TSN, where, and legitimately, popular personalities are wondering why they're not getting commercials, And I'm not picking on Darren Dreger, Jennifer Hedger. Good for them. Obviously, Quaker and the folks at TSN, their bosses, both think it's good, wholesome, good product. Go ahead, do the commercial. But I'm wondering if it was like, did they have a bunch of names? Did they say, all right, here's the names we've got. We got Jeff O'Neill. We got Dave Poulin. We've got Kate Burness. We've got Kayla Gray. We've got Sarah Davis. We've got Tessa Bonhomme. And we're only going to pick two of them to do the Quaker commercials. Like, how did that work out? Like, did they go to TSN and say, we want this person? Or did they say to TSN, give us a bunch of people who you think should be on these commercials? So anyway, but I can tell you this, if you don't get the gig, you're going to be jealous. I would be jealous. Let's face it. Suppose I was co-anchoring with Jim Taddy and Jim Taddy got a television commercial, just him, and I didn't.
Right.
Would only be natural, vice versa.
Because it's big bucks, right? These national
ads. Oh, yeah. It's a few G's, baby. And if you get some residuals and the commercial's still running 13 weeks from now, another cycle, another grand maybe or more.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. So I wonder if it's not so much, do I look at Darren Dreger and go, well, he's on the take with Quaker Oats? No, of course not. Of course not. Is his judgment as an insider going to be clouded because he's doing commercials for Quaker Oats? Probably not.
Right.
But you can see how, and again, we've talked about this before, whereas the CBC, for example, would not allow anyone to accept even a penny because it would compromise their journalistic integrity, their bias.
Although I would think they'd have the news department with that rule, but I would not think it would apply to the sports or the entertainment.
So sports isn't news?
No, I don't think it's in the same division with the same kind of rules of
well, hang on. Okay, so Jennifer Hedger does Sports Center. She's an anchor on Sports Center. Yeah. That's different, I guess, than the panel, or is it?
Well,
we're dealing with people that are they're using the facts. They're getting their stories correct, factual.
I just don't
could
think
they be swayed because a sponsor is, lining their pockets, or could they look the other way? For example, if Pepsi or Quaker was involved in a lawsuit or something was going on there.
It's just reporting on Doug Ford is different than reporting on sports matters.
You're the one who brought it up. What do you think about these commercials? You okay with it?
Oh yeah, I don't
care. Do you
care.
think it would cause jealousy?
I don't care. I think I would think if you were Lisa LaFlamme, for example, and she was doing commercials for
No.
For shampoo.
You're missing the point. We're talking about TSN. If you're at TSN and you think you deserve a commercial.
Well, tweet just if you can get a commercial, like we said, I think it was last week we talked about it. Don Cherry would hawk anything. Like what?
Different. That's different.
Okay.
We're talking about, all those names I gave you are under pretty much the same umbrella. They either work on a panel show, right?
So Dreger,
I didn't even include, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stegall. Leo Routens, Sam Mitchell, anyone that's on these panels. They're all kind of considered to be, similar.
Yeah,
Jack Armstrong, I get it. He's
Jack.
He's a personality. Okay. He's got Jack. Don Cherry had Don. I get that.
I think the sports world is completely different than the news world, and that they can do whatever ads they can get.
Okay. That's all I want. Listen, I'm just suggesting, and I know for a fact that there are some noses out of joint. It doesn't make for a happy workspace when you look at someone and go, How did that so-and-so get that commercial?
Tough cookies. Tell these people next time tell them tough cookies. Go get an
Oh,
ad.
that's easy for you to say sitting in your living room as a podcaster. You've obviously never been in an environment where there's competition. You don't know what the other person makes, but you know how much airtime they're getting, and now they're getting a commercial.
Yeah, I know, but that's
yeah.
a
So I don't think it's
fittest.
so. You just think, oh, I could. No, I'm not jealous. You would be jealous.
Okay.
If you had any kind of an ego, you'd say, "How?"
Well, Hebsy, if you get a big ad when this guy gets a hold of you and there's some big opportunity, I'm only going to be happy for you. No jealousy.
Mike,
I just want you to know that.
Mike, when you see your numbers on the podcast charts, you go, "Hey, we're number 5 or 15." You're telling me you don't look at the ones ahead of you? Go, really? That prick? Ugh, how is he ahead of me? Come on. You don't go, "Oh, what? I'm better than that guy." If you didn't have an ego, then you wouldn't be any good in this business. You have to.
True that.
Okay. He said, moving into the next story, NFL last night. Patriots 25, Falcons nothing. Terrible game, Thursday night football. Brutal. Pat's now 7-4 in the AFC East, which means Buffalo needs a win at home against the Colts on Sunday to stay in first place. The 6-3 Bills are a 7-point choice to beat Indianapolis. They better get their shit together. Should be a good quarterback battle. Carson Wentz for the Colts and Josh Allen for Buffalo. Can go across the border now, I guess, eh?
Yeah, as long as you get that test, I think you have to get a test.
Oh, right. And what does that cost?
I think some places I heard were like some Walgreens and stuff or Walmarts might be doing it for free, but I don't know.
Still don't know.
I don't know.
In golf, Canada's Mackenzie Hughes tied for second after the opening round of the RSM Classic at Sea Island, Georgia. Sebastian Munoz from Bogota, Colombia is your overnight leader at 10 under par. Max in a group at 9 under, Corey Connors 8 under, Adam Hadwin 5 under, Michael Gligic from Burlington. I'm sure he's played crosswinds before. At -5, Dave Hearn and Taylor Pendrith -4, Roger Sloan -3, Adam Svensson -1. 136 players shot par or better. In the LPGA Tour Championship, Brooke Henderson tied for 44th. She shot a 1 under par 71. The leader is J. Lee 6. There are so many women named Lee on the LPGA tour that this young lady's handle is Lee 6. You know her. I don't know if that's her official real name. Can you have a name with a numeral in it?
Yeah, Davis Love the Third.
Is that legit?
Davis Love the Third, I believe.
No. That's a Roman numeral.
Okay.
No, this is not a Roman numeral. It's a 3.
Huh.
A 6. Sorry.
Hey, before we move on, what do you think of this story with Peng Shui? Like, have you been following?
I'm not a big fan of Feng Shui. You mean not that
Peng Shui
putting furniture in certain positions?
I know that's yes, that is funny. But
what story is this?
Peng Shui
tennis player
is not accounted for. She was critical of China and hasn't really been spotted in a while. And there's people like Serena Williams, etc., are trying to raise awareness. Like, is she okay? Like,
no, she's not okay. She's not okay. She's probably in the witness protection program or whatever. She's doomed. You don't criticize the Chinese government.
But then I have to ask the question, obviously, like, what about events that are now held in China, including, Olympics, etc.? This is
boycott. What are you going to do?
Well, right. Like, should that be on the? Should we be talking boycott?
Well, I think Serena Williams, if she's really serious about this and she demands the return or some answers. Here's the story. Feng Shui, a very popular Chinese tennis player, accused a high government official of sexual assault. Right?
Right.
And the shit hit the fan after that. She's gone missing. She had put out a statement, whether that was her or someone else putting it out, who knows, saying that she was fine, that kind of a thing, like take it easy.
Right. There's some doubts about whether it was actually.
There's some doubt
right.
as to the origins of that. And look, man, I've watched enough episodes of The Sopranos. You say something or you do something that goes against the boss, against the decision makers, against the ones that are in power,
so how do you hold,
that is.
How do you hold official like WTA tennis tournaments in the backyard of the boss, so to speak? Like if we haven't let's hope she's okay and everything, but how do you have a tournament there after this?
It's a good question. It's up to the participants to say that they won't compete, but would they be in violation of their contracts, sponsors' contracts? Oh, who knows? Probably not. Is there insurance? WTA have insurance in case players pull out? And think of the work that would be done. Think of the infrastructure that's there, the tickets that are pre-sold, the sponsors involved, volunteers, all that. And now you're going to say, no, unless you give us Peng Shui. That's a tough one.
Keep your eye on this story, Hebsy.
Right. So the other day in Toronto, a person I know, I work with, Christina Tenalia, who's a reporter on CP24, is doing a live hit and is interrupted by this, jerk of a woman who just, hijacked the story. And it sort of brings us back to the news stations, not just news, but sports too, want their reporters standing out in the field, it's called. Standing in the field so you, the viewer, can see them actually there. And what this does is it causes problems when you're dealing with crowds, because like a beacon, when you turn the television light on, when people see that someone's on television, they flock like moths to a light. They just do. And so when you're doing it out in the street, in public, or you're doing it after a game and fans are walking by, or you're doing it in the corridor of the Scotiabank Arena, right, with 4 people sitting on a panel and goofballs in the background with Leaf jerseys hoisting beers, it's just distracting, and it takes away from what the people are saying, because you're not watching and listening to what they're saying. You're distracted by what's going on in the background. Am I right?
You are correct.
And so it's not Christina Tenalia's fault that she had to do a live hit and people are walking by and people are going to say and do stupid things or hijack the live hit or the taping. It's the way it is. You see it all the time in the streets, and that's the way people are. So in order to avoid that, all right, these news stations have to realize that when you put the reporter in that position, the reporter cannot win, cannot do their job properly. They just can't. Because even a little interruption, now you need to be talking to your audience behind that camera lens. Not be, if you're distracted by the person behind you, what do you think the audience feels? You're not coming through. So to avoid that, find a place where you're don't have people all around you, where you can do your stand-up, your piece to camera without these distractions. It's worse for the viewers. One time I'm doing an interview with Art Eggleton, the mayor of Toronto at the time in 1985, when the Blue Jays were on their way to their first playoffs, the American League Championship Series. And they had some kind of a parade before the start of the series, and it ended up at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto. And I'm there live for the news, and interviewing players. And now here's the mayor of Toronto. Let's go live. Now we're back to Mark. Live, Nathan Phillips Square with the mayor of Toronto, baseball fan Art Eggleton. And now I'm live. They put me out there, and the lights come on the camera, and everybody comes swarming on, Hebsy, with the mayor. I'm trying to do some kind of a reason, but hey, how's it going? How long have you been a baseball fan for? And who do you think's going to win? And who's your favorite player? Shit like that, right? It's the mayor.
Right.
He's trying to get his time in as well. Meanwhile, I'm doing this, and between me and the mayor, right, is a guy poking his head in between. And I can feel him trying to, and I'm pushing him away while I'm doing the interview. And I'm sure the viewers are like, oh, this is funny. They're not listening to what I'm saying. They're not listening to what Eggleton's saying. They're watching this little circus going on, people waving, and hi, mom, and all that shit. And I know this. And I'm going to keep pushing this guy away, and I'm pushing him away, Eggleton. And then finally, the guy pushes me, or some guy pushes him into me, and I kind of stumble, and I bump into Art Eggleton. Okay? Now I'm pissed.
Right.
And I say something like, all right, it's getting a little bit, whatever, one final question or whatever. And then the guy comes up over my shoulder again, and I see in the little monitor that the cameraman has next to him, just a little teeny, maybe a 6-inch monitor.
Yeah.
I see this guy creeping over my shoulder to get into the shot. And with my right, I'm holding the mic in my left hand. With my right elbow, I give it like one of these up, and I get the guy. I feel my elbow go like right into this guy's, into his nose.
Wow.
Like a flush on whack into the nose. And I hear, ugh. And I look, and my cameraman, Sandy Pimenoff, looks at me, and he's got this look on his face. His eyes are bulging out. Like, holy shit, what did you do? And one of the camera assistants or a couple of other people that are there are like, they got this horrified look on their face. And I'm like, holy, what happened? And I got to finish this interview with Eggleton and throw it back. But I'm looking at the horrified looks of these people. So I wrap it up with Eggleton. Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Back to you, whatever. And I don't hear anything else. And I look, and the guy is on the ground, bleeding. His nose is bleeding. It's like coming out he's like a suckling pig.
Right.
And he's like, you fucking like that. No security, no other people from Global there to like whatever, nothing. And I got to fend for myself here. Like I'm fending him off with like the microphone, you asshole. Anyway, I get back to the station and they show me the tape of it. I say, and I fucking nailed this guy. Like I nailed him. Like he's leaning in as I'm putting the elbow up. So he's coming into whack.
Wow.
And the nose is all bloody. Anyway, they filed suit. I get the call from the lawyer. I didn't get the call from the lawyer. I got a call from my boss who said, look, we got a lawyer's letter here. They're charging you with assault and there's video evidence of it. And look, the guy's trying to break it. Yeah, it doesn't mean you can hit him. I'm like, well, what are they supposed to do? So I feel for all of these reporters that have to do live hits. And they know in the back of their mind that someone's going to try to interrupt. They're going to yell something. They're going to try to get them going, trying to be funny, trying to show their face. See me on TV. Right. And don't put reporters in that position. I'm saying to all news directors, all assignment editors, please don't put them in there. Because as a viewer, I want to see the person report on the story with a nice background, a building, a mountain. I don't give a shit. But it doesn't have to be, here we are in the pit with thousands of people. They just don't work.
Interesting. Now, Christina Tenalia, we're talking about with that CP24, that's a Bell Media company. Just before I play you out with some Los Lobos, you have some insight into what's going on at Bell Media this week?
Yeah, somebody had posted something about there's going to be more layoffs coming, but what Bell Media had done is they had put out an internal memo to all its employees offering severance packages. Like, come on and get it. We're offering if you'd like a package.
Like X dollars per year or something like that. And
pardon?
X dollars per year of employment kind of offers.
Well, if you sever someone's employment without cause, that person is entitled to severance.
Of course, yes.
Right?
Yes.
With cause, no.
Right.
But without cause, you just want to let them go. You have to pay them a severance.
Yes.
And of course, that severance is for how long is it going to take for them to find another job, if they in fact can find another job in their field. How many years did they work there, right? And you base it on that. Now, it might be 2 weeks salary for every year you work there. A month's salary for, let's say you work there 30 years. You get 30 months salary.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Sure.
But whatever the basis is or whatever you can negotiate. The way I understand it is, from anyone that's worked there, is they all got offered pretty nice packages. Like, you know what I mean? They got, here's your handshake. Rod Black, I'm sure, got a nice,
sure.
He was there 20 some odd years.
He was there long enough, and I'm thinking Landsberg as well. Landsberg was there.
Yeah, and Landsberg too. Yeah. So I'm sure that both of them were covered in that particular regard.
Sure.
It doesn't make you feel any better. You've lost your job, your position. But it's nice to be able to have a little financial.
But are these voluntary? Are these voluntary or involuntary packages?
What do you mean?
Like, because for example, David Schultz left the Globe when they made this offer where they'll cash you out now, early retirement or whatever, trying to get people off the payroll. Right, and he was very excited to do that. Very happy to do that.
Sure, because he was there for many years and he got a nice package.
So this Bell Media email, is it basically saying? Asking who wants to opt into this early, or is it saying
correct? No,
okay, so it's voluntary.
Who wants to? Whoever wants to, give us a call.
Do you know if there's any interest?
Because let's face it. If you've got a certain number of years in, and you want to know what your numbers are,
right?
I'll take a package. Why do I want to work somewhere where I might get fired or I'm going to hate my job?
Yeah, like Joe Tilley, our buddy Joe Tilley did the math with his accountant and was very happy to exit with that cash at that time.
Yeah. And see, the other thing is it allows him, unless he signed a non-disclosure, and even so, that would be like a non-compete or something like that. It allows him, some financial cushion. If he wants to work or do anything else to earn money, he can do it. He's not burdened by having to go to work every day anymore.
Right.
So he can choose that. And he's sort of being paid to not work there anymore and to have time to find something that he likes to do.
Now, may I ask, Hebsy, this email you've learned about, this internal email, are we going to see some names we know? Because I mean, I just mentioned earlier some behind the scenes names and station management and stuff.
All I know is this, that the guy running the show at News Talk 1010, a guy named Mike Ben Dixon, is out and replaced by Jeff McDonald, who is also the news director at TSN 1050, and now he'll be the news director, program director at News Talk 1010. So it's like you've already got a sports talk station,
right?
Well, now you got a news talk station too. And remember, they gutted their entire newsroom,
right? Of course,
News Talk 1010. So what's Jeff McDonald looking after exactly? A couple of talk shows.
Yeah, John Moore.
4 talk shows.
Yeah,
am I right?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
John Moore in the morning.
Yeah, Jerry Agar is over there.
Jerry Agar. Ryan Doyle.
Ryan Doyle's on with Mad Dog.
Mad Dog.
Jay Michaels.
And who am I missing? One other one.
I honestly, I'm at. I don't know that station too well, but
okay,
I know
but
Tim
anyway,
Richards does overnights. That's all I know.
Yeah, but there's no news staff. They're not breaking news. They don't.
No,
do that
they bring
anymore.
they'll bring in like CTV or CP24 or whatever. Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. You know more than me.
But I didn't know about.
Let's wrap this.
I didn't know about that email, which is interesting. So maybe we'll learn of some names coming up. And it's lovely. They do this every November at Bell Media. I've noticed because I've been tracking this, and it's always a nice little pre-Christmas present for Bell Media employees.
Listen, I don't want to be too tough on them because I have Bell 5, and I don't want to run into any problems with my Bell 5. Okay. That's it for episode 259 of Hebsy on Sports. Thanks, as always, to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Hit him up at Toronto Mike. He's got a great podcast, lots of interesting guests. I got to catch up. These are deep dives he does, but they're very, very good. If you're interested in being a sponsor on this show, we have openings. Contact me, contact Mike, become a partner on the show. It could be Hebsy on Sports, brought to you by Headspace. Thanks for allowing us into your headspace. Yeah. Back with another episode next week. Looking forward to it. Until then, so long for now. This podcast has been produced by TMDS and accelerated by Roam Phone. Roam Phone brings you the most reliable virtual phone service to run your business and protect your home number from unwanted calls. Visit roamphone.ca to get started.
All right, my friend. Let me turn off the camera. Goodbye to everybody watching at home or in the office or wherever the heck you are. We'll see you next week.